Hey everybody, and welcome back to Live Between Paychecks Kitchen. I'm Oz, Jack and Later still Lake Jackson. Sorry I missed a few videos. I've been at the hospital with Dad. Dad's been in there, been sick. He's getting better, but not out of the woods, so I don't know how sporadic these are going to be, so I'm going to try to get these to you as best I can. This is going to be one of these ones I saw. It looks great, and it saves me from having to eat ramen. One of the things I said I would never do, just the pot with the thing, whatever, once I started making money. But some people just enjoy good ramen. So this is going to be like a fancier one. We're going to put some neat stuff in. Before we get into it, be sure to like, share, subscribe, do all the YouTube-y stuff. Ring the little bell down in that corner, get notifications. We put these up as close to Tuesday and Friday as we can. Again, until I can make this my number one business, man, this is just how I got to do it, and I apologize. Also, we got a link down the doobly-doo for our merch. We got our aprons, we got fake hands and pot holders and spatulas and flippers and a spoon. That's all we have, but it's very cool. We're a very small business. We very much appreciate that. Just very, very, very. And let's just get into the food, man. Fancy ramen time. Mostly because I'm hungry. Let's do the thing. All right, that's enough from Unbrushed Beard. There's a lot of stuff now. You can use any kind of ramen stuff. I like using these. I get them in a big pack, or you can just use the old 10-cent, well, 39-cent stuff. I get pork because I'm going to use pork belly in here. Just so because you got to use the seasoning packet out there, and you're going to need some water to cook those. You're going to want an egg. You can use regular chicken eggs or some quail eggs if you got them, which are pretty nice. Try to use 2 quail eggs to 1. We're going to put them in raw, so don't worry about being cooked. You're going to need some garlic. I'm going to use the whole damn bulb. You're going to need a single piece of pork belly, or any kind of pork it's doing, but I'm using pork belly, which is nice. 2 tablespoons of butter. We're going to use it separate. A tablespoon of brown sugar. And then to dress it, you're going to want, some sesame seeds. You're going to need a little bit of red pepper flakes, 1 green onion to dress, and then you're going to either need soy sauce, or I like using ponzu. Ponzu works a little better. It's not near as dark as soy sauce. It's really nice. And the creamy part is you're going to get it from actual mayonnaise. Like, get actual mayonnaise. It's going to be about a tablespoon and a half. And if you're feeling really froggy, you can get you some fish sauce. Be sure to shake it up and get all the sediment off the bottom. And you better like fish sauce. I've had a lot of people experiment with it and tell me how horrible it is. Other ones tell me it's the greatest thing ever since sliced bread. So, first things first, you're going to get your garlic. Now, pull this apart. Now, I've gone over this before. We're going to use this whole thing. But see how you can take this, and you just got to get all the skin off, right? I had an ex that made me some pasta once and left all the skin on the garlic. So, it just kind of came out as just hard mushes. It's like really hard on the outside and mush. So, you do that whole thing. You get your green onion. You're going to wash it. And then take it and get you a nice sharp knife. Shout out to Andy. And then cut this down. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to be a professional. Don't be scared of the knife. Just be careful with it. But just get in there and cut it up into small pieces, okay? Now, same thing with your garlic. Again, you don't have to be professional at this. It doesn't have to be beautiful, right? Just, I've seen so many people like, I want to cook, but I can't move the knife like the people on, the shows and the classes and stuff do. Just get in there and chop it up. Just hack at it. Just guillotine the shit out of it. Just hack it until there's little bitty pieces. That's all you need. Do the whole garlic, and then move that out of the way. Start your water. It takes a little while to get this boiling, so go ahead and move it up to medium high, right, to get that start boil. I leave mine covered. I think it helps because it keeps it heating. So while you're doing that, we're going to go ahead and skim this fat off. Like, this is the belly side. Now, it's hard to get it where it's just that, so get you a sharp knife, cut it off. It'll be a little pink in there, and just cut off that extra fat if you can. Leave the stuff in the middle, that's fine. But feed that extra stuff, give that to your dog, and they will love you forever. Now, the rest of this, you want to cut it down into cubes, as close as you can, or small enough pieces. Make sure to separate it, or you'll have it all strung together. So I cut it one way, cut it back the other way, and I'm done with it. All right, so be sure to cut it all the way down, because that fat and that texture and the tissue is going to keep it tied together. Okay, so just again, doesn't have to be pretty. We're going to fry it down as close to cubes as you can, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, that's one thing about cooking. It doesn't have to be perfect to taste awesome. Okay, so once you get your skillet off of your pot there, you want to put it about medium high, right? Don't want it too high. So like I said, mine's at a 5 out of 9, so about halfway up. You're going to take 1 tablespoon of butter and let that start to melt, and go ahead and add your pork belly in there with it, just all that meat. Let that heat up with it. We're going to start to get that down. When it just starts to get brown, we're going to start adding the other stuff. So be sure to get in here and stir it. Put the meat on the metal. As soon as it starts cooking, pick it over. Put the pink parts down, okay? So as the pink parts start turning gray and white, you're fine. As soon as you start getting the brown part, you get that done. Now your water starts to steam, not necessarily boil. Go ahead and put that in there and let that boil. You can double up the noodles if you want. But that's completely up to you. Now your meat's starting to brown. Go ahead and drop that garlic, that whole garlic in there. Again, this is creamy garlic stuff. And if I didn't have that much garlic, I'd be very upset. I use my tongs mostly to flip this around because it's a lot easier to control than just a spoon where you're just kind of smacking everything around. So be sure to get that in there stirred. Now, if it starts getting too dry, right here, then you want to go ahead and add that extra tablespoon of butter, right? But that meat will start breaking down a little bit, and you can put it in there. Whoop, there you go. and you start getting that oil in there. You do that, go ahead and add your brown sugar. Right, just right inside there, and then your red pepper flakes as well, and your soy sauce to your ponzu. I'm using ponzu. It's a tablespoon. This is only my half tablespoon because I couldn't find my damn tablespoon measuring cup. So yeah, so I just had to do 2 of those. But just do 1 tablespoon of that, and then your the pepper flakes. It's completely up to you. It's optional. I just kind of put a pinch in here, not even a full teaspoon of them in there. Give it a nice stir around. Be sure to get there in the heat. You remember your meat's still cooking. That's why you didn't want to overcook it earlier where it's just starting to brown, and get it in here. Make sure everything gets nice and coated. That brown sugar gets mixed in with your butter and your soy sauce or ponzu, whatever you're doing. Make sure everything gets nice and coated and starts heating, okay? So, man, this is going to be so fragrant, and it's going to smell awesome. And people are like, what are you doing? It's like, I'm making ramen. So you make sure it's getting in here and it's going to nice and bubble. Go ahead and add that ramen flavor packet, right? If you're doubling it up. I use everything else the same, but the flavor packets I'll double if I double the noodles. Everything else I'll stay the same. Just trying to stretch it out, make it a little longer. So you put that seasoning in there, it's going to start to get really dark, really brown. I thought the brown sugar would, but the seasoning packet does it. It starts making it really brown and deep in there. So you're getting it cooked and nice, and your noodles are nice and soft, and the meat is turning brown, and everything's starting to like caramelize in the bottom of your pan. Go ahead and kill the fire underneath your noodles. Get you some tongs, give it a test, because that doesn't work. It summons demons if you don't tap your tongs. And then put the noodles just directly in your skillet, just right in there with all that. Boop. It's going to take a little while, so I'm going to cut out this because I had to grab all the noodles out of there. Then what you're doing, just giving them a toss, all right? So the best way to start, if you just spin it in a circle, you're just going to end up with a big wad of noodles. That piece of meat just escaped, and Zool is eating it. So that's the thing. If you're hearing a ticking noise any time in the background, Zool is eating the extra stuff or any kind of escapees. So just use your tongs, toss this noodle around until it's nice and coated, and then turn off the heat and pull it off the heat, okay? You don't want to overheat it. Now, if you're getting eggs, especially if you're doing yard eggs, get you a bowl. That way, if it goes bad, you can just dump it in there instead of directly on your plate. Now, you try to crack it as often, right in the middle as you can. Now, use the shell and toss that yolk back and forth, and the whites will come out, and you can put those into that bowl, because you just want the yolk, all right? So just take the yolk, put it back over here, and it'll kind of, slowly cut out that heavier, clear part of your egg. Put it in a separate bowl. Just don't throw it out. You can use it for other stuff if you do it that day. Or I take it and I put it on my dog's food, and she absolutely loves you forever. Okay, take that, put it on the dog's food. It helps with their coat or whatever. So now this is starting to cool off. Hit it with just a couple of squirts with your actual mayonnaise. Don't use any kind of substitutes or anything for that. Actual mayonnaise gives you the cream because it's butter, oil, and eggs. Give it a nice toss. Be sure you get all of it, especially around the edges. And that's starting to thicken that stuff up, and that's where your creamy part comes in. So let's plate this, man. Just take and get you a bowl. Grab you a handful of noodles. This is enough for 2 or 3 bowls. Works really good. Got it in here. Make sure to get some of the meat and garlic that's in the corner there. Dress it up in the corner. Ooh, grab the escapee noodle. And then you want to hit it with some of that green onion that you cut up. We're going to leave that in there as raw. Get you some your toasted sesame seeds, which just makes it fancy, tastes a little better. Something to pick out of your teeth later. And then just your egg yolk right in the middle of it. And you are set. Eat this how you want. This is amazing. I don't know how well it'll hold up for meal prep because of the noodles. If they dry out, they're horrible and hard to re-wet later. So this is very much eat it that day, but it's cheap. I think the biggest thing was the pork belly, and it was like $5, and I got 1.5 pounds, and I used like not even 1/3 of a pound on this. So yeah, you got to try this out. I saw it somewhere online, so I'd give proper credit to whoever did it, but I lost track of it, so I just kind of winged it with my own recipe here. But this turned out really well. Let me know if you try it. I'm really excited to retry this one. And there you have it, folks. Fancy ramen. Like, it is pork to the bone. Like, it is amazing. Let me know if you do it differently. You want to see me do it differently. I will revisit this one. This was great. It's super cheap. You can tell there's inflation when the second ramen goes from 10 cents to 39 cents. So whatever to make that eating cheap, that's where we're here. You can tell us here in the comments. That's what the comments are for. You can also find us on social media. You can find me on Facebook, Pinterest, Patreon. You can find us at all those at Limit Between Paychecks Kitchen. You can find us on Instagram at Limit Between. We had to shorten it down over there. You can find me, Oswey Nerdy, on all of those, including TikTok and then Twitter for now, just because I'm talking nerd stuff over there. I don't do the politics over there at all. So I will see y'all next time. Y'all please be safe. Thank you very much, and I'll see y'all next time.